This is the Kazdoy Closet. I'm Kazdoy. That's my closet full of all the stuff that I love. And today, there have been several films about humans hunting other humans. But today, we look at the film that started it all. Let's check it out. Today's film is The Most Dangerous Game from 1932, a brisk 63 minutes long, beautiful black and white. This is about a shipwreck survivor who ends up on this island owned by this crazy Russian count. And this Russian count is also a big game hunter, but he's decided that he's kind of bored with hunting animals and now wants to hunt humans instead. So whoever shows up on his island, they're in for a surprise. He's going to hunt them down. The shipwreck survivor is played by Joel McCrea, who's a good leading man. He always seems very boyish to me. And I was kind of surprised he was in this film. I didn't know he acted in films this old. I think of him mainly in Sullivan's Travels, which was 10 years after this film. But he also was in Ride the High Country, a classic Western. He liked Westerns the most. He liked doing those. And he was in Foreign Correspondent, the Hitchcock film. The love interest, who was another shipwreck survivor from a different ship, is Fay Wray. And we all know her, of course, from King Kong, being King Kong's girlfriend. She's good in this. It's a little over the top. She's a very thin and very slight, I noticed, and very pretty woman. She was also in Dr. X and Mystery of the Wax Museum. Now, one of the standouts in the film is Leslie Banks. He plays the crazy Russian count, and he was mostly played in British films, so I was really not familiar with him. But right off the bat, he's one of those characters you think, this guy is evil. He's got that thick Russian accent. He's got a scar on his forehead that he kind of touches and stares off into the distance. An animal gave him that scar. He's got the goatee going on. And he was interesting because in the war, he suffered an injury where the left side of his face was partially paralyzed. So it gives him kind of this eerie look. But he gives off real good Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi vibes in this film. He even has an Igor-like assistant named Ivan who can't speak and is very weird looking. I should also mention the producer was Marion C. Cooper, who went on to produce King Kong and then The Searchers, the great Western film, and many John Ford classic films. Now, I don't think I'd ever seen The Most Dangerous Game, but somehow I knew what the concept was. And I think it's just one of those stories that we've all been exposed to. It's been in anthologies forever, textbooks, paperback anthologies. So somehow it's just kind of part of the culture and one of those standard story concepts. And in fact, it's been made into various film genres. Westerns, the whole concept was made into Westerns, into adventure films, into horror films, going all the way up to something like the Hunger Games series. Same idea of people hunting other people. In fact, this starts off as sort of like a gothic horror film with the castle and the candlelight and the strange lighting and the strange angles and kind of expressionistic. And then about the 30-minute mark, after we've established what's going on in this castle, it turns into an adventure film. It's a very good adventure film. And it's in a jungle. And the jungle looks kind of familiar when you're watching it. And that's because a year later, they use the same jungle setting for King Kong. So that's probably why it looks familiar. That whole last section of about 30 minutes is very little dialogue. It's like a long chase scene, including 20 dogs they use to chase Joel McCrea and Fay Wray through the jungle. It's very cool and pretty exciting, actually, and a good musical score, too. There are some pre-code elements in this film, too. Meaning, of course, if you don't know, this was made before the production code where they said there's certain things you can't do. So there's a reference made to what the hunter, the count, is going to do to Fay Wray, which is not very nice. They go to a trophy room where they see human heads as the Count's trophies up on the wall. I don't think after the production code came into existence they would be able to do that again. As far as the effects go, The shipwreck sequence is obviously a miniature. Some of the backgrounds, like the castle and some of the jungle a little bit, are obviously painted, but that's okay. That's to be expected, right? So my rating for The Most Dangerous Game is going to be 5 ships out of 5, partly because just the historical importance of the film, and partly because it's just a fun film to watch. So what's on this disc? Well, there's a bit to talk about here. This is a Eureka disc. I've never had one of these before. And I like this disc, how they designed this, because on the front, the slipcover here, you see a diagram of the island, and it notes all the important events that happen and locations during the film, which is very cool. And some description on the back. And then when you take the slipcover off, you have different artwork here, which looks like it could be original. And you have, even inside, you have some different artwork there as well. Okay. There's a booklet I'll talk about in a second. But first of all, some of the extras. There's a few. Oh, by the way, this is a Region B disc, meaning that you either need a region-free player. Unless you're in the UK, it'll play on your player. But don't let that discourage you, because I'm going to tell you how you can see this if you don't have a region-free player. So some of the extras include a discussion about how this film has been made in various genres, like I mentioned before, with clips and artwork showing the different films. And also there's discussion on the making of the film. Those both are about 20 minutes long. There's about an 8-minute audio interview with the producer, Marion C. Cooper. There are 3 audio radio adaptations of the story, which I did not listen to. There's a commentary track, which I almost listened to, but I didn't. And the booklet. The booklet is very interesting. It's about 30 pages long or so. And part of the booklet is an essay explaining how this story concept has been used to express different political views, liberal versus conservative, Cold War views, World War II views, Germany versus the US and the rest of the world, basically. And so that's interesting, very interesting essay there. The picture quality varies. Now, I'm going to take it for granted. This is probably the best presentation you can come up with a film this old. And I'd say about 75% of it is surprisingly good looking, and the rest varies. Sometimes it's really grainy. Some of those outdoor shots are very grainy. And then sometimes the black and white kind of fades in and out, and there's also some scratches here and there. It's a square picture, and the audio is fine as well. So where can you see The Most Dangerous Game? Well, I know Criterion brought out an edition of it as well. I don't know if it's still available or not, but they did an edition. And also you can see this on YouTube for free. I don't know what the quality is. You can see it on Amazon Prime. You can see it on HBO Max. You can see this on Paramount Plus. So you can probably get it from your library. So it must be a public domain or something, because it's so readily available. So there's your Most Dangerous Game. Had a good time with that one. And I like the Eureka disc. So feel free to leave a comment or suggestion down below here. Feel free to leave a thumbs up. Don't leave a thumbs down. Subscribe would be great. This is the end of November. We're almost at 375 subscribers. I think I need 3 more. So feel free to subscribe. Share this with your friends and neighbors. Otherwise, hope you like this one. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.